Hello everyone, I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, making some really good trades, and yeah, let's just get into it. We still have a lot of stuff to talk about today, even though Bitcoin was trending sideways all day. Not too much price action, as you can see, just trending sideways, trying to get above this green resistance box at the moment, or I guess you could say holding this green support box as support, but all depends on perspective. Anyways, moving on, we can see on the daily time frame, Bitcoin had a -5 on the yesterday's candle on the 16th. Today we opened a new candle 11 and a -4, so a little bit less bearish. But once again, momentum wave looks like they're expanding towards the downside. Money flow turning a little bit back into the red. You could zoom in a little bit, and you'll start to see it a little bit more. But again, VWAP's coming up, so let's just see what happens. Again, a lot of stuff can happen. We are in this pattern, I guess, right? You could say we are in a bit of a rising wedge, or you could call it ascending triangle, but it all depends on where you draw your lines and stuff. But for the time being, looks like we are in an ascending triangle. But yeah, I don't like to see the Bitcoin price at these levels for too long. If it lingers a little bit here, it's possible that we do break down to maybe 34,500, but we still have this support line to break, and we've held it as support so far. So if we do come up towards the upside, we might come up as high as 44,600 before getting rejected down. And again, this can go on for a while. It can go on until maybe April 4, but we're just gonna have to see, because we do have a meeting coming up on March 15, which is the FOMC meeting, the Fed's minutes, and the Fed's gonna be talking about interest rate hikes, and I'm assuming they're gonna be announcing their first rate hike of the year. So far looks like we're gonna get a quarter-point rate hike, but again, what is that going to do against 7.9% inflation, right? The Fed's going to have to hike significantly more to compete against inflation. And inflation is not slowing down, right? So much for saying that inflation is well anchored at their 2% target, like Jerome Powell said. We're now at 7.9%. They have no control over the inflation that is happening right now. So once they start to hike, you're going to start to see the markets start to go down and down and down. As we've seen it right already, they're already starting to price in the rate hikes, right? But what they haven't priced in is the future rate hikes and the future increase of inflation, because the Fed, once again, is reiterating that don't worry, inflation is going to come down. But as we can see, all of 2021, inflation has been persistent and gone up, and it's they've been wrong, and they're gonna be wrong again, as they said, like, oh, don't worry, in 2022 we're gonna get it right this time. It's going to be coming down to 2%. I don't know where they get their numbers, but I can tell you right now, it's not gonna go down to 2%. It's gonna keep rising, and it's gonna keep rising until the Fed caves in and raises the rates enough to fight inflation. And when they do that, they're gonna tank the economy, right? And once they realize that the economy is tanking, they're going to do a 180 on the rate hikes and go back to quantitative easing and money printing, and that's when you're going to see the price of gold and Bitcoin really start to skyrocket. So in my opinion, this is what's going to happen. All right, we're going to see most likely them raise their rates significantly more than anybody thinks, and Bitcoin might start to come down with the stock market and that initial crash. We might even see as low as 20 to 14,000, depending on how much the market starts to tank on these future rate hikes. But if they do that 180, like I'm assuming, because they would rather let the dollar tank than let the economy tank, then in that case, when that happens, when Bitcoin comes down to 20,000 or 14,000, depending on where we go, we trend sideways for a little bit there, and then from there on we would go to new all-time highs. That would be my opinion, because when they start to do that 180 on the on the interest rate hikes and go back to money printing with high inflation still there, you're gonna see all these gold stocks, all these silver stocks, and all these scarce assets start to skyrocket. you're going to see Bitcoin start to skyrocket as well, in my opinion, because we all know that Bitcoin is a scarce asset, but people like to speculate on it at the moment, and it's there's high correlation with the Nasdaq. So that's my bet for the time being. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. Things can change. A lot of stuff can happen. So that's just my opinion, guys. Moving on, let's take a look at Bitcoin, where we could be going in the short term. If we do come down, we still have some support coming in at 36,200 and 34,000 from our previous bounce from there. If we break this line, we still have 31,300 and 29,400 to look at. If we break above this resistance line and go into the green box, as we can see, we got to get over 40,000, and then we can start to look at potentially 42,000, or you could take a look at this chart right here where we did get rejected last time. You could take a look, 42,700 all the way to 44,800, which is the top for the time being. So we're just gonna have to see what happens. Anyways, guys, there's a lot that could go on. Again, the MACD on the weekly time frame looks like it's starting to curl back up, but like I said before, we want to take a look at like his past history. You could take a look at 2013 when the MACD looked like we were starting to curl back up, when we were just about to cross, and then we got that 50% dump towards the downside. So always to take that into consideration. And if we do come down, this is a reason for my targets. We got the 200 weekly at 20,000. We got the 300 weekly at 15,000 or 14,000, and then we have the 400 weekly, which is at 11,400. But in my opinion, if we get to those, I think it would be highly unlikely that we get to those levels. I think the most likely scenario is that we come back to the previous all-time high back in 2017, which is around 20,000, 20,500. So those are my targets for the time being. Again, I could be wrong. Daniel is predicting that we go to 52,000 in the Discord between I believe April 1st. So we would need, let's take a look from these levels here from today, we would have to pump around, let's take a look, he said April 1st, so we would have to go up to 52,000. There we go. So Daniel's expecting a 32% pump from today to April 1st, which gives us about let's take a look here, 20 days and 8 hours. So around 20 days is the time frame for Daniel that we get to 52k. Again, Daniel has made a lot of correct predictions in the past, and he's in our Discord, so if you guys haven't already, you can definitely join our Discord. You get access to all these charts, my investment portfolio, and my crypto charts as well. And gold's looking quite bullish at the moment, even though we did come down from that high of 2071 all the way down to 1960, falling over $100. We still found support at this support box right here. Again, this is just some short-term like speculation, but like we're just gonna have to see what happens at the FOMC meeting on March 15. Not a lot to talk about today. Most crypto prices were trading sideways. Again, XRP did get that nice pump the other day, but so far it's not moving at all anymore. So overall, I'm quite bearish in the short term, but I am long term very bullish on Bitcoin. Right, I'm not selling right here. I'm looking to reaccumulate if we do get to those lower levels. So get your bags ready. If we get to those lower levels, that's where I'm going to be reaccumulating. So if you guys want to get this chart, this indicator, by the way, it's Market Cipher in the description. I get a lot of people asking me that. Links in the description. And if you haven't already, definitely sign up for bitgettrading.com. That's where I do all my trading as well, and to help support the channel as well. Love you guys. Peace.